Hi, everybody. I'm Gene Simmons, and you're not. And you are listening to the #1 KISS podcast, Shout It Out Loudcast, with Tom and Zeus. But you knew that. Now get out of here.
Oh, boy. Here we go. This is Gene Simmons. Put that cookie down. KISS. Stop pressing the button. Starchild Simmons. Star? Paul Stanley. Is that what he does? Stop shouting. My name is Frehley. He's not what you would call a handsome man. Oh, no. Here come the KISS times. Is that a positive thing? Okay. All right. I'm going to grab me a nice cold mellow yellow. Hey! Why do that to the fan? Stop it. Why? Because fuck them. That's what are you talking about? 617-525-08. You do? Hey, fucko. Do you like KISS? Settle down.
Hello. Hey, what's up there, KISS Army? Tom and Zeus, another episode of Shout It Out Loudcast. Episode 279, Allison Hagendorf.
Yes. Woohoo.
Yeah, it's real excited for you guys to hear us talking with her. She's great. And I know I fucking gushed over her later, but.
Oh, he did. He does. Wait until you see this.
And she had no problems whatsoever being like, yeah, go ahead, gush.
She loved it. Yep.
You guys got to fucking follow her Instagram. Good Lord. Good.
Yeah, and her Twitter and her social media and everything else. But besides, besides how good she looks, there's a lot more to her than just that. We'll obviously get into that.
But you got to follow her Instagram.
Okay.
Tom, last week we completed the Destroyer box set.
Yep.
And we reviewed disc 4 live in Paris.
Yep.
As always, we did a poll. How'd that go?
Yeah, so we said, which song from Destroyer do you think should have been in that set list from Paris 76? Yep. King of the Nighttime World, Beth, Do You Love Me, and God of Thunder. And pleasantly surprised here to see that not only did King of the Nighttime World win, it doubled God of Thunder.
Wow.
King of the Nighttime World got 53%, God of Thunder at 27, Do You Love Me at 16, and Beth at 3. Yeah, Beth. This fucking song is terrible. It's about time people just admit that that's not a good song. Maybe it's legendary and iconic and whatever you want, but blah.
You're just getting back with me all the fucking unmasked hate that I've unleashed over the years.
I respect the fact that you don't like Unmasked. It's fine.
Sorry. It's not. It's easy as it seems.
Do. It's like
that in and of itself right there.
It's like Paul Stanley's Copacabana. It's fantastic.
Isn't there a line there? I saw you sleeping with my best friend or something like that. Isn't there a line like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, poor Paul.
Poor Paul.
You ain't committing no crime.
It's horrendous.
Oh, God. Let's look at some poll comments here. And our buddy Steve, King of the Nighttime World, fits in perfectly. Yes, of course it does. Let's look at some episode-specific comments here for some people. Once again, some incredibly, incredibly beautiful and kind words for Zeus and his family. You guys are the best. Just speaking as Zeus's friend and co-host here, it was very touching for me to hear all that. So you guys rock. Lisa says, loved diving back into Shout It Out Loudcast. A great episode going deep into the early raw KISS. Thanks, guys. What do you mean diving back into? Where you been, Lisa? You can't be taking off on us like that. The hell? Beach Boys are the GOAT. Interesting, Tom. Nothing to Lose is my all-time favorite KISS song. I kind of dismissed this box because of the sound, but I'm going to give it another shot. Yeah, that's in reference to me saying that Nothing to Lose was a little bit meh. And then Twisted Kister posted a picture of a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Thunder because we had a conversation about generic versions of Dr. Pepper. So that was some fun stuff there. So yeah, that's what we got for Twitter this week, Zeus.
All right, buddy. So we're going over to the Book of Face. Anthony Hunt. Hi, guys. Just listening now. Zeus, so sorry for your loss. That was a beautiful eulogy. Here's to our dads. Yes. Tip of the hat to all the great dads out there. Over on Loudcaster's page. I mean, again, there were so many people that gave heartfelt condolences, words of wisdom. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I read every single one of them, and it means a lot. And if I started reading all the comments and stuff, we'd be here all day crying, and I'm not going to do that. So, but I will read a few. The great John Whiteman. Condolences to Zeus for the loss of his father, and he puts in parentheses Kronos. Someone's been looking up their Greek mythology. My dad wasn't Kronos, but that's okay. I agree with Tom that there's no need to be a better man. Being the man he helped create is a perfect way to honor his memory. And as a great man once said, there's nothing better than you. But he didn't say it like that. He said, there's nothing better than you.
Oh, God.
They say we broke all the rules.
Oh, boy.
Daniel Hall of Houston. Great episode this week, boys. Zeus, again, sorry for the loss of your dad. My mom passed away in 2021 from cancer. Part of how I distracted myself from being too overwhelmed was listening to Shout Out Loudcast so I could laugh for a minute. We all appreciate everything you do, and I'm sure your dad was very proud of you. On a lighter note, Kiss has to clear out Paris for Jerry Lewis. Yes.
So true.
Yes. And, you were listening to Shout Out Loudcast so you could laugh for a minute. I am performing on Shout It Out Loudcast so I can laugh for a minute.
That's right. Yep.
Joey, don't call me fucking Ray Romano Romanik. And Joey reached out to me personally. Thank you, buddy. Love you. But he writes, even though Destroyer is my all-time favorite Kiss record, I don't own the box set. You should be thrown out of the Kiss army for that.
I don't understand that. That is,
and it's not a monetary thing with him.
Of course not.
Because
Look,
we
America's
see him
favorite,
with his Johnny Cool Balls fucking sunglasses. Designer jeans.
He ain't buying jeans at Kohl's. He's buying like $200 jeans. You can afford the box set there.
Exactly. It's not a monetary thing. So I don't understand this. It's my all-time favorite Kiss record. Tom, look down there. Some of my all-time favorite albums. Elvis 68, box set. Nirvana, Nevermind, box set. Stone Temple Pilots, Purple, box set. If it's one of my favorite albums, I have it as a box set. How the fuck do you not buy this? I don't get it.
He's not selling enough $1 million homes, apparently.
Just for the fucking songs on disc 2.
Oh, yeah.
Just for those. It's the fire.
Night boy.
Well, all right. Maybe I take it back a little, but I just don't get it. But anyways, I was able to find some of these songs online. So maybe you're just cheap. I
was just going to say.
What the fuck, dude?
I went on Napster to listen to this.
I know. I was able to download these songs from YouTube. Oh, okay. And while the sound quality is definitely pretty bad, the band sounds pretty hungry. You guys made a great point. This was before Kiss was a polished, well-oiled touring machine, and you can hear it. Then he writes, Zeus, the opening portion was a beautiful tribute to your dad. All us Loudcasters failed for you and your family. Thank you for that part. But Joey, dude, so I think the theory is you're just a cheap bastard. Is that where we're going with?
He's going to be upset. Now he's going to be upset.
Now, if it's about making himself look physically good, he'll spend the money.
Of course.
But for anything else, how much is that quarter pounder? Is it extra if I get cheese on it? It is? All right, I'll just have the quarter pounder.
Oh, he's not eating quarter pounders. You've seen how fit he is now. Come on now.
He used to be a fat fuck too, apparently, or something.
He used to have a podcaster's body. Now he has a realtor's body.
Now he's, because he lost that weight, because now he has his wife's body. God bless the woman. He put up some photo of Mrs. Romanik in some sort of I don't know, like fitness car.
Miss Fitness USA competition.
How the fuck does a Kiss tard, realtor Ray Romano looking pudgy bastard, because that's what he was back then, how does he land a beautiful, smart, intelligent woman like that?
He must have money, but he doesn't want to spend it on Kiss shit.
Hey, Do you listen to Shout Out Loudcast? I know those guys.
I know those guys. Oh, you do?
Sit at my table.
Take me. I'm yours.
Oh, all right. Let me end on the Loudcasters with the Greek Thunder from Down Under, Thanos Akratides. Boys, you made me really laugh last week with your show about Stoned in Paris, or should I say live in Paris. We all know that this was the original bootleg that we had bought years ago called Stone in Paris. Raw sounding, probably not the clearest recording that we had from Kiss bootleg, but nonetheless, probably a big part of our history being Kiss fans in the early days. I think there were many more better recordings than this that they've officially been released. I'm very surprised that this came out in this format. On another note, listen to you, Zeus, beautiful words about your father were heartfelt. You made me laugh and cry on a 30-minute drive back from work. I can only say you spoke very well. Your father's memory live on for you and your child. Thank you, Thanos. Poor Thanos had lost his mother only about like a month or two before.
Yeah, exactly. Rest in peace.
And we talk late, and it's always funny because he'll send me DMs, and he's in Australia, and I'm always like, what fucking time is it over there?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like 2 a.m. or something. I don't know. But God bless you, man. God bless your mom and her memory and stuff. And thanks for being an awesome Loudcaster and an awesome friend. Now you got to get your ass back over here to the States soon.
Yes, you do.
Visit. Tom, I've got a couple of comments here on the YouTube. YouTube.
You like the YouTube?
Yes, I like the YouTube.
You like the YouTube?
Oh, man. All right. Strutter72, thoughts and prayers, Zeus. God bless you. William Flowers, stay strong. I lost my father a year ago. It's hard, but life moves on. Believe me, you know he's with you every day. Prayers, Zeus. Thank you, William. DRC was also, this is from Jules Cundiff. DRC was also the first encore on the Dynasty tour in 79.
Ooh.
Leo Arguelles. I love getting shit like from people that we're not used to recognizing.
Me too.
Condolences in Ace's voice. Love you, brother. So happened to be at McDonald's, going to order a fish sandwich in honor for your dad.
Nice.
George Taylor. My dad passed him the same back in 89. Still feels like yesterday. Remind myself my dad didn't really go away. When I think of myself and my siblings, he's still there through us. Great way of looking at it, George.
Yep.
The great Marty White. I'm sorry to hear about your dad, Zeus. You spoke beautifully about him. Not everyone is lucky enough to have such an amazing dad, and that's well said. And that's why I don't feel as sad because of all comments like that. And appreciate what you got. And lastly, I'll leave you with Andy Patterson. Prayers for you, Zeus. I lost my grandma, 85. Also unexpectedly lost my best friend of the last 30 years who only just turned 45. He was also my roommate, boss, bandmate, songwriting partner. His family crushed me. Just wanted to wish you well and say, time is a healer. It's also good to laugh. So go listen to Time Traveler. Also, thanks for putting out the episode in midst of your tragedy. My heart goes out to you. I spend 2 days a week, sometimes 3. Zep Chronicles and hearing your voice so often you become like a friend. Well, we are friends, buddy. So God bless you, friend. Now in your honor, I will go listen to your favorite song, Shandy. You're not a friend anymore. I hope this puts a smile on your face. Peace out, Girl Scout. Andy, thank you for that. And I mean that. You guys are all friends. Let's be honest. If I met any of you guys on the cruise or in person at a concert or anything like that, I wouldn't think of you like, oh, who are you? Oh, hey, nice to meet. I would treat you like you're my friend. And we had that opportunity, Tom and I, when we were at whether it be Creatures Fest or New York, when we met people. You guys are family and friends. I mean,
absolutely.
You take the time every week to, whether you're in the car and your headphones for a run or at the gym or anything, to listen to us talk. We're speaking to you. We're not just doing this for me and Tom to listen to each other and have this conversation. We're speaking to you people out there. And you guys take the time every week to listen to us. So, of course, it's a very intimate thing that we have. And it doesn't mean I want to finger bang you. It just means that we have an intimate... it depends on who it is.
You never know. It depends.
But this is a very intimate thing, and it's a special relationship and bond. the podcast and the loyal podcast listener. You guys are that, and it's new. It's a new kind of a thing, but it's almost familial. So thank you all for the kind words and the kind comments. Much appreciated. And I'm going to turn it over to Tom.
Yeah, let's get through a couple emails here. A good friend, Patrick Butterworth. Hey, SIOL, hard to believe that yet another season of your podcast is halfway finished. I continue to listen to the older episodes incessantly while keeping current with the latest as well. It would be great if y'all could get an intern to go through the vault and collect clips and dates for a greatest hits super happy fun time episode. Like the very first time you said, go to him. And
Tom, stop. Put up the Kiss fucking card bat signal. Shout it out Loudcast bat signal. Did you hear that comment? I think you should repeat it, what he's saying we should get.
A vault and collect clips and dates for a future greatest hits super happy fun time episode. Yes.
Shout it out Loudcast intern.
Yes.
Taking applications now.
It will still be right up there with the Kramerica intern, who was helping schedule lunch appointments for him.
What's that lady said? You just seem like a leisurely man who sits around and has a lazy lifestyle. He's like, oh, I believe that this is this and this. And he's like, your fly is
open. That's my favorite line. Your fly is open.
That was Rock's wife. Remember that show, Rock?
Yes. In
the 90s? That was his wife. Yeah.
Your fly is open.
Yeah.
He says, or when Pukes was introduced, all the episodes have something special in them, and my favorite stuff happens to be all the little gems of inside shit. Thanks for keeping it alive.
Ooh.
Okay.
So all you interested in the Shout It Out Loudcast internship to go back and to jot down all these famous events and hilarious moments, please send your email to shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. That's shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com.
Yes. We got a great email from our good buddy James Campion, who we knew he would chime in on this Destroyer because he wrote the incredible book, Shout It Out Loud, The Story of Destroyer. Incredible book. First, he starts off with some very kind words and condolences for Zeus and his dad. He says, I had to comment on the Paris recording, being the Destroyer guy that I am. And although you guys made some excellent points on the performance in the seminal period of the band here, the overall disc is awful. The sound is painfully subpar and doubtlessly recorded by some kid in the audience. Moreover, Paul's guitar is woefully out of tune for most of the show. You can hear him frantically trying to tune it. I felt bad for him knowing that Corky Stasiak story of his beloved Flying V, photographed on the cover of Alive, hitting the floor at the end of the Destroyer sessions late in January. It's a tragically funny telling, but they were never going to be able to salvage it. That was one of Paul's go-to live guitars, as I'm sure you guys know.
Go to him.
Also, back to the kid who recorded this. Michael Cobb, who was the musical director and chose all the tracks for the box set, whom I spoke to upon its release, told me that they had the Anaheim and New Jersey shows, both bootlegs of which are ubiquitous. James, big words for Kiss fans here. Shout out loud. We don't know what that means.
Dumb it down.
Yeah, dumb it down. But there were copyright issues and other things to consider that would have held the release. Although this recording is technically illegal, didn't they have to deal with whoever recorded it? Isn't that kid the rightful owner of the tape? I guess not. Cobb and several other audio techs argued about releasing it, but were overruled. But not by Gene and Paul. According to Cobb, they were not hands-on beyond giving the green light and occasionally okaying images that were used. The audio team claims to never have seen or heard from anyone from Kiss directly. I wonder what their thoughts are on this recording being part of the set. Anyway, sorry for the long missive. I'm truly excited about the publishing of the book Raise Your Glasses and proud to be a contributor. James, fantastic stuff. We're honored that you are a contributor. All right, we got one here from Russell Hall. And Zeus, we're going to have to talk about this and figure out what he's talking about. Hi, guys. Russell from Australia. How come you guys can get away with ripping into that waste of Space Ace? And I fully agree. Yet when I do the same, your friends at that other podcast try to rip me to shreds. Fucking rednecks. Cheers, brothers. I have no idea who or what he's talking about. None.
Which podcast is full of rednecks?
I have no idea. So, Russell, you're going to have to follow up with another email, buddy, because I truly don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Did you say, what you talking about, Russell?
What you talking about, Russell? We got a great email and some kind words from our fellow Pantheon podcaster, Mac, from the Ugly American Werewolf in London. Check those guys out. We got some kind words from our good buddy, West Beach. And we're going to move on to an email from our good buddy, Costa. The Destroyer episode confirms why SIOL is not just the best KISS podcast out there, but has evolved to become the most dependable, appreciated, and welcome 2 hours of entertainment for so many listeners every single week. Zeus, the words about your dad from describing the first years of struggle on the side of the Atlantic to his determination to work hard in order to create opportunity and a path for his family, an opportunity that he never had, was a perfect tribute to the man and the father he was. Your gratitude and memorial of his life also show how much of his humble character was in turn passed on to you. As for the constant expletives, blame it on one of the uncles. I won't lie, I had tears rolling down my cheeks while driving as your voice reminded me of the passing of my own father, which both of you and the SIOL family helped me get through at the time just by doing what you do best, and that's being there for us. The respect and care you show your listeners, your guests, and mostly each other every single week, even after 278 episodes, is why the show is untouchable and has simply become a must-listen for your fans. For that, I will speak for all SIOL tards and say thank you. As for the Live in Paris show, I would do anything for a Twilight Zone-ish time machine. You built a time machine.
What's that? You built a time machine? No, I like you. I like you. I don't know.
A return to the mid-'70s era of the band, watching them perform with a raw, youthful energy one hears from the disc. Thanks for everything, boys and Z. Time does help soothe the soul. Fantastic stuff, Costa. Thank you. Fantastic. Excellent. We're going to finish up feedback and emails with a great one here from our buddy Rick Hickey. First of all, Zeus, all my heart goes out to you. I lost my dad at 80. He and I were very close. Most difficult thing I've ever been through in my life was saying goodbye to him. I've learned over time that what originally registers as a loss is actually a gain, as the memories in the morning actually make our late great fathers become an even deeper and stronger part of us. Speaking of strength, Zeus, you are a beast and a natural and a gift to the KISS community by declaring, quote, on with the show. We've all heard it before. Throwing yourself into the work is the best medicine, but you don't know until you've actually been there. Everything in this life becomes much more meaningful after losing a loved one. For me, anyway, I just want to live my life in a way that would make my dad proud. What you guys do with the podcast is certainly for a specialized audience, a special needs audience, some might say. But you guys take it so seriously and do such an amazing job week after week. The next part goes to you, Tom. You guys are an indescribably huge blessing to the KISS fan community. I've said it before, but your brutal honesty and humor are simply the best. I've never laughed so hard as I do when listening to your show, and it's not just that. I'm old enough to remember the days before streaming services, before YouTube, before podcasts, even way back before the internet. Aside from a few magazines like Circus, Cream, and Hit Parade, there was nothing for the KISS community to bond over, a shared experience like I'm seeing, feeling, and experiencing with your show and the Loudcasters group on Facebook. We all know how silly it is, this fucking clown band. But like so many of us, they got under our skin when we were young, and I will always love them regardless of how frustrating they can be. Can't thank you enough for your dedication to the show. KISS World is a better place because of you guys. P.S. I just shrugged at the Ace footage of him autographing the wall. Ever grateful for everything you do, Rick Hickey. Rick, fantastic, amazing, amazing words. Thank you from all angles. Amazing, Rick. And for that, my friend, you are the comment of the week.
Good answer. Good answer. I like the way you think. I'm going to be watching you.
Wow. That is a great email. And we got a ton of them like that. But Rick, yours stood out. Hence, comment of the week. Thank you again from everybody. Much appreciated. We love you. Like I said earlier, it's a family, and this is a very intimate relationship we have with you. And
Yep.
It goes both ways. So thank you guys very, very much.
Yeah.
Now, Tom,
Indeed.
we need to thank a few other people.
Yes.
And that is our Patreon family.
Mhm.
We are now finally over the 130 mark.
Amazing.
Highest we've ever had.
Yep.
Now, we have a new member, and his name is Chris Pullman, who joins us as a Catman member. Chris,
keeping the streak alive.
Thank you so much for joining and being part of the Patreon family. Patreon is where you guys can join and contribute to the show. There are 4 different tiers, monetary tiers. You pick the one that suits your financial needs and what you can do. And then you, in turn, based on those tiers, get something back from us, whether it be involvement in the show, polls, merchandise, T-shirts, stickers, ARC, album review crew, picks and involvement, obviously the March Madness involvement, video chats. There's tons of stuff there. And we have a couple more things up our sleeve for you guys out there for in our Patreon family. So we always want to thank you guys, because this show would not grow and continue to grow without you. Hence, we get Allison on the show, who just interviewed Paul Stanley, the first person who interviewed Paul since Kiss in December from the End of the Road last concert, who also, like the week before, was just interviewing Ringo Starr, is on our show. So things like that don't happen because of out of the blue. It's because our hard work, our loyal listeners, and our Patreon family that contributes to the show and allows us to grow. So if you want to continue to see us grow, continue to see us succeed, part of that is the Patreon family. And we really appreciate it. So if you guys want to contribute to the show, we'd really appreciate you joining Patreon, where you can go to our website, shoutitoutloudcast.com. Right on the landing page, you'll see an icon for Patreon. Click on that. You would then find the tier that you want to join and come help and support the show. Chris, thank you. And thank you to all our Patreon family members. You guys are the best.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much, especially Chris Pullman, newest member of the family. And thank you to everybody, whether you've been there since day one or you're brand new like Chris, or even Wobbly Magoo from last week. We love all you guys. Thank you so much. And again, we try to give back with all different kinds of perks. Check us out if you're new, if you're kind of interested and you're not sure what Patreon's all about. Go to our website, click on the link, download the app, and search for us. Tons of different things coming up. And please, we're so grateful for everybody who is part of the family. We just want to continue to give back and see the family continue to grow. So thank you.
Yeah, and what's always amazing is like names like Wobbly Magoo, Chris Pullman. I don't remember seeing them in our social media. So for as much as the certain names are familiar with all you Loudcasters listening, I would say about half are people that just want to listen to the show.
They just listen to the show. Yeah. They're not on social media. They don't comment.
They don't send out emails. Contribute. They don't post on our social media posts, but they want to contribute and help us grow. And so tip of the hat and much heartfelt appreciation for all you guys out there. And thank you for you that do contribute to Patreon. Tom, what we do next is we go to Kiss World to discuss what's going on there. And as usual, Kiss World means individual members. So we tend to just flick through and see if there's anything coming up other than same old rehash fucking Kiss products on anniversary dates where they'll just throw out a new fucking vinyl and a couple new T-shirts. What do we have new going on now, Tom?
Well, it's not a coincidence that we have Allison Hagendorf on the week that she just interviewed Paul Stanley for the first time since the End of the Road. So that's kind of the news that a lot of Kiss fans are talking about. We're recording on the day that the interview with Paul dropped. So by the time you hear this, I'm sure you've probably already watched it or heard it or whatever. So, that's exciting for obviously Allison. It's exciting for us to have her right after she did the interview. We kind of picked her brain a little bit about it. And, Paul had a couple things to say, and some of it was interesting, and some of it was a couple things that maybe some of us Kiss nerds have heard before, but it was still nice to hear Paul kind of talking, post Kiss. And one thing for me personally speaking, I will say, is that he admitted that he hasn't really picked up his guitar because he said he was afraid that he would miss what they stopped doing. And I thought that was a really rare moment of kind of honesty and inside Paul, because he's obviously, we know, very guarded. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, and for those that are going to say, oh, disappointed, why didn't he talk about Ace and that stuff, or why didn't he talk about his 78 sold out? Guys, we know Paul by now, right? Let's be realistic here. I thought Paul came off excellent in the interview. I know a lot of the stuff is cliche. We've heard a lot of it because we're Kiss-tards. But Allison's show is not for the Kiss-tards. It's popular music.
It's for the rock fans.
Anybody that listens to that interview is going to be like, wow, the guy from Kiss sounds like a fucking awesome dude. Like, I think Paul came across well. A couple things that I liked is when she asked him about Gene, and he was very heartfelt about those comments. And then the other thing is, he admitted, and I can't believe she got him to do this. Well, I haven't been the easiest person to get along with sometimes. And he's even mentioned like he would, if you look back, he would let things go that probably didn't need to be.
I agree.
I mean, that's refreshing to hear Paul talk like that.
It is.
I mean, honestly, I thought that it was great the way he hyped up. Paul is not Gene.
No.
I don't think Paul would be hyping up the avatars if he didn't really believe it.
Yeah, Paul's not the salesman that Gene is.
No. And so do you think Paul would have talked like that if he just finished recording or what he knew the Phantom of the Park was going to be like?
Right.
He knows what the end game is in this. So he is super excited. Makes me think, but he did say, people think it's going to be a concert. It's not.
That's
so
not.
There goes that. Everybody thought it was going to be like, they'll be performing, in Boise, Idaho, 1979 concert. No.
Right.
He did get into a little bit more details about what he thinks it'll entail, but it got me excited. If Paul thinks it's going to be that good, I mean, I will say, hold me on it a little.
Yeah, and I'll say, and I'm not. Zeus and I talked about this before we record. Like, I'm not just saying this because Allison is our guest this week. I thought the line of questions were beyond appropriate for an interview for Paul that's 6 months since he's removed. And again, like Zeus said, and like you guys may not know, Allison is a rock journalist. She has guests from every line of work, whether it's pop culture or music, whatever. So the question she's not going to, it's not going to be like, so tell us about, when you recorded, Live 2, side 4, like that's not going to be the interview.
Yeah. Were you upset that, Bob Kulick had to come in instead of 8?
Yeah, right. That's not happening.
Going down that avenue because those aren't the questions that people that probably listen to those very generic general rock shows want to know. You're like, what? Huh?
But I like how she started out with like, what have you been doing since then? Talk about the avatars, talk about the relationship with Gene, the relationship as him as a father, his painting, what's next. Like, I thought the line of questioning made sense for where we are right now with Paul.
Yeah, and I think it was Paul was a little bit revealing on a few things.
Yeah,
I don't think that most Kiss fans out there and the Kiss-tards are going to be, I've heard this before. All right, fine.
Oh, maybe you, exactly. Maybe you have.
Okay, but if you go into the details, Paul doesn't usually put himself down or have a revisionist history about he probably would do things a little better or let things go and things
Paul
like that.
And Paul also doesn't do 45-minute sit-down interviews ever.
No, for the most tell they have chemistry. They're friends, and he felt he was in a comfortable space. And as Allison will say to us, "You're my people." I think they're each other's people. Yep. And I love seeing this side of Paul. Believe me, if I didn't have to bitch about the other side of Paul, I'd be better off. I don't want to bitch about Ace either, and we'll get to him. I don't want to bitch about any of these guys. I hope that they're cool. But the problem is that if these are our heroes and we have got a podcast on them, we have to dissect the good and bad. And this one I thought was a pretty decent interview for what it was. And I thought Allison pulled it off, and I thought Paul came across as pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was good. Yeah. As far as everybody else, let's take a look and see what we have with all of our other family members. Tommy Thayer was apparently in Croatia putting gas in his car.
It's on his Instagram.
I'm not really sure why that became a thing. Bruce Kulick came back from a trip to Finland, posted some really cool pictures.
Yeah, Bruce.
We love
Hey,
Bruce.
Finland. How are you?
Hey, guys. Kulick. We're recording right now on the 5th. by the time this episode drops, it will have already happened. But on June 6th, Gene is going to be joining Steve-O on his podcast Wild Ride at Rock and Brews. So that's going to be pretty crazy. If you remember Steve-O from like all the Jackass stuff, he's a psycho. So Gene's doing that. So again, the Kiss band themselves are not up to much. They're just kind of celebrating anniversaries.
Oh, you forgot one other person.
And things like that. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, over here. Hey,
we'll save him for last.
Yeah, Paul Frehley over here. How you doing?
Yeah.
Apparently Ace going shopping at Target, talking about parking in good spaces so no one hits his car as he opens the door and smashes it on the rail.
What is the matter with that guy?
Dude,
Why is he
I
out
love
in
those
public?
videos of Ace.
Oh,
and
me
then
too.
He's talking about like someone saying, hey, don't have a name tag. Are you crazy in this day and age? Dude, I love that shit when he does it. But then there's that cackling behind him. And he posts, oh, we're back. What do you mean we? Who's we?
Yeah, we. Yeah, who's we?
This is Ace Frehley's page, right? And then the video pictures of the two of them on a bike. And I'm sure it was a nice moment. And then it's like quoted lyrics from Constantly Cute. I'm just like, what are the odds that Ace put this post up? And then we got dude, what are the odds Ace knows how to fucking type?
Oh, you're right. Ace, some of the stuff is like endearing and funny and goofy. She's just ruins it. I'm sorry. You guys, everybody's got their own opinion. I think she's just an insufferable bore who ruins everything that he posts on his social media. It's awful.
She makes her not likable.
Yep.
Do you know any other real rock stars out there that everything is like, I mean, it's not his wife. They're not they're not like fucking.
I can't think of one.
It's not George Jones and Tammy Wynette fucking combining forces and like, oh, the two of them.
Nope.
Right?
I agree. No, you're right.
It's just, what are we doing here? Why do you need like, and if he doesn't fucking stop this, it's her. The impression is it's her inserting herself, like trying to have an image or a thing in case something she has to fall back on or something. I don't know.
It's awful.
It's just no need for it, buddy.
Yep.
It's not a good look.
No.
Anyway, Tom, like we normally do, let's take a quick little break and we'll get back into our conversation with Allison Hagendorf. But before we do, Ace wants to speak to Tom for a quick second to see if the shed will be up to par for 4th of July celebration coming up. Hey, Tom, do you mind if I get some of those bottle rockets I'm going to shoot off in the backyard for the 4th of July?
All right, we're back. And Ace really, really excited about the 4th of July. I'm a big fan of these sparklers. I really think sometimes they frighten me. But I like when it's dark out and I hold them and I kind of write my name. It's kind of like Space Ace, but I do get a little freaked out because, it's flammable and it reminds me of, Shock Me and kind of being electrocuted with the sparks.
When I was younger, me and the gang I used to run with, we would have Roman candle battles in the backyard and shoot them at each other.
Big fan of the fireworks. Can't wait, Tom. Make sure the shed's ready to go.
Hey, Tom, you can't store this shit in here. How am I going to sleep? What's that one that you shoot up and it blows up and like the fucking army guy comes out in a parachute? Remember that one?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that, or I have no idea what those are called, but I remember them.
Isn't there one called like the snake or something like that?
Used to light those little black tablets and as they burned, they would look like little snakes. All those stupid things that we used to do.
Yeah, I don't think Ace should be playing with fireworks.
He shouldn't be playing with anything.
Well, Tom, for quite some time, we've been going back and forth with Allison Hagendorf. Excited to get her on the show, talking with her. And as I say in the interview, she came on our radar because she was interviewing our buddy Jericho, and they have a good chemistry and look like they're friends and stuff. And next thing you know, we walk into Madison Square Garden and she's hosting. Yep. And I'm like, dude, that's the lady I've been talking to about coming on our show. And over time, we've been emailing back and forth, excited to have her on. And we had her set up to go about a couple of weeks back. And she's like, hold on, guys. I'm having Paul come on. I want to come on and talk to you guys after I interview him.
Yep.
We're like, fuck yeah, sounds great.
Yep.
And we were lucky enough to get her, and excited for you guys to listen to this, right? Without further ado, Allison Hagendorf.
With a career spanning nearly 25 years, our guest this week is an accomplished music journalist, media personality, television host, and member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominating committee. Earlier this year, she launched the second season of her YouTube show, a weekly video-first show featuring interviews with some of the most iconic musicians, actors, and personalities. Previously, she served as the global head of rock at Spotify and was an A&R executive at Columbia and Epic Records. And finally, she was the host of the pre-show interviews and festivities at Madison Square Garden on the night of the final Kiss show in December. Let's welcome Allison Hagendorf to the show.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you so much.
Well, your resume calls for an intro like that, Allison, so.
Wow, well done. I'm honored. I'm honored to be here. And I also love that we're all rocking our Kiss.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was made for loving you. All right.
Nice.
Hey,
yes.
Great. So I will tell you, it's funny because you know how you came on my radar?
Tell me. I was wondering.
Our mutual friend, Jericho.
Oh,
so
of course.
Chris was our first name that we had on our show. And that was 19 when we first started our show.
Yep.
And not only did he come on, he invited us to the second AEW show, put us front row. And he's like, come after the show, come meet us. And we were getting kicked out. And he's calling me. I'm like, oh my God, Chris Jericho's calling me on the phone. I'm like, they're not letting us come down. He's like, put the security guard on. I'm like, okay. And he's like, they're my friends. Let him come down. First time meeting him. He's got the belt at the time.
Oh.
And Chris, if you know him.
Yeah. He's the best.
He's like, so you guys like Kiss? What album? When'd you get into it? Like, I can't believe this guy. I just watched the champion wrestle, and he's asking us questions.
I love Chris Jericho because he is first and foremost a music fan. You know, he really
we know.
Yep.
He cares so much. He loves music. Did you find out about me when I was on his show or when he was on my show?
When you interviewed him, I loved it.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
I've gone back and listened to you on his, but I obviously could tell you guys know each other. So it wasn't just a random guy coming on. Yeah. And I saw that rapport. But then next thing you know, we're at the end of the road and a lot of it were all my best of friends. And you pop up as the host. And I'm like, I know her. That's Chris's friend.
I mean, that night, that week was just the honor of all honors. I couldn't believe that I got to be in that position because it wasn't just the show. I hung with the guys the whole week in New York leading up to it. I got to shadow them and go with them in all of their New York stops.
Yeah.
And it was very out of body. And I knew Paul before. Yeah, Paul and I have a relationship. He's just the most wonderful, loving, caring guy. So I actually know Paul as Paul, not Paul from Kiss. Well, both, but that whole week was hilarious. And I feel like Gene was a little bit unsure of my role and why I was there, but Paul totally co-signed and gave me some cred. And then Gene warmed up and Gene was the best. And it was just such an incredible week. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a video I'm sure you've seen. There's a video on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's pretty much a compilation of all of your interviews, which we'll get into, and you kind of running around the city with the band, going to, the Madison Square Garden event, the Swatch Watch store, the pop-up stop, like all of that. So tell us how did you become the MC of that week of that event? How did you get there? How did you win that prize, I guess you'll say?
That is a really great question. I'm actually trying to think how it all came. It was one of those perfect, planets aligning moments where my background, well, one, besides being in the music business for 25 years, I host a lot of live events, big live events. So I was the official host of Times Square New Year's Eve for 7 years, which was incredible. I've hosted the X Games. I've hosted the CrossFit Games. I love live, and of course, when it's a music live event, combined with the freaking finale, the Kiss show, everyone who was involved was like, who's going to host this? And my name kind of came, to mind from different angles. So it just was like a perfect moment,
awesome.
Nice. And I just was like, sign me up. Plus I'm a New Yorker. So just everything about it was just so symbolic, and what an honor. It was incredible.
Oh yeah.
Well, you obviously pulled it off. I mean, you can tell you have a talent and you've been doing this, but I cannot believe you've been doing this for 25 years. No, I would say you're 25 years old.
I love you. I love you for that. Oh, we could add another 20.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's amazing.
Thank you. I mean, as far as the Kiss, so the pre-show was a little bit, to be honest with you, it did not go as planned. There were like a lot of issues and we couldn't they couldn't hear some of the things in the show. And look, we didn't have much time. It was a little bit of like a mess, but you know what? That's rock and roll. And it was so cool.
Yeah.
But the real shining moment was the post show. Mm-hmm. That was the best part, when I just was literally at the stage as the guys came off for the last time, and being able to grab Gene right as he was coming off and to get that first reaction from him and having him be in tears and surrounded by his family. It was that moment for me that was the most important of the entire week. And then Paul coming off, and Paul and I were literally like arm in arm heading back to his dressing room, and Tommy and just everyone it was beautiful. I have to say, it was a beautiful family affair. You can feel the love, the gratitude. It was one of those experiences I will cherish forever.
Yeah. So Zeus and I we've been Kiss fans since we were little kids. We've been doing this show for 6+ years now. So when we went to New York City for the weekend, we're just obviously fully engrossed in just everything Kiss, hooking up with friends from all, different parts of the country. Where were you as a Kiss fan before this whole thing started? And then where were you as a Kiss fan after it ended? How did you kind of was there a journey of Kiss fandom, I guess you should say, from start to finish with your experience?
That's a great question. Now, similarly, how I say I'm a metal fan, I can't compete with metalheads. You know what I mean? And I have the utmost respect for the Kiss Army and the Kiss family. And I consider myself a Kiss fan, but I can't compete with the Warriors, so
right.
We can't compete, so don't feel bad.
So I always manage expectation. I'm so honest. I fucking love Kiss.
Yeah.
But I would never say that I'm one of the Kiss. I know, I know the real Kiss fans, and I have the utmost respect. And I'm a fan of you and your fandom. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's so awesome. Now, gearing up for it, I went deep, and just sort of re-celebrated all the Kiss songs that I love. And I didn't listen to it in terms of albums. I just was let's celebrate the Kiss catalog. And just sort of put a fun, playlist together.
Yeah.
And it just was amazing to for example, Love Gun is my favorite song. Okay.
Nice.
And that was a highlight for me at the show because of course, Paul is on a freaking zip line singing Love Gun across the Madison Square Garden, which is the venue as a New Yorker and beyond. It's, I think it's the most famous arena in the world.
Yeah.
But just seeing him on that zip line and just that moment. In fact, I'm going with the new episode with Paul that's up. In the teaser for it, we put a teaser out. I actually have the footage that I took of it, and the whole time you hear me screaming.
Of course.
And it's such a great video because one, it's a great vantage point.
Yeah.
But it's also hearing my insanely visceral screams, just of pure joy. But of course, spending time with the guys and being part of that last week, I love the band on a whole new level.
Yeah.
And what an honor to be the person who conducted the final Kiss interview. And then to have Paul on my show and to be the first interview with Paul Stanley post Kiss.
amazing.
So to be in that position, believe me, does not get lost on me. I am so grateful.
You bumped us. That's fine. Don't worry.
I'll tell you, that might be the proudest moment in the history of Shout It Out Loudcast, that we got bumped for Paul Stanley. I mean, it's fantastic. We'll take that.
But I know. I love that. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I have good news and bad news. I'm like, I was like, the bad news is that we have to postpone our podcast recording, but the good news is because I literally have Paul Stanley on. So we'll just have to.
And we're like, that's even better. Because I was like, oh man, we find, because we know you're busy and everything, obviously. But we finally got a great date. And then Tom was like, do you understand? She's going to meet Paul the next week, or that week she's going to come on here.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, because we haven't had the luxury of hearing this, but by the time this episode comes out, I definitely
it'll be out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything specific you want to tease and let us know, or about the interview, or something you found out, or break some news here too?
I just want to say firstly about Paul Stanley is that he is a beautiful person. And like, and here's the thing, and I'm in a position where I meet a lot of celebrities. I interview a lot of celebrities. I'm friends with a lot of celebrities, and celebrity means nothing to me. I could not care any less about celebrity. I have respect for people's crafts, work ethics, what they've accomplished. I have respect for that. But when on top of that, you're the best at your craft, you are literally the apex of a thing. And then on top of that, you're a good person. You're a family man. You're a painter. You have like multiple talents. You're like a Renaissance man. I mean, Paul just wows me. So just even outside of his Kiss accomplishments, which are unparalleled, like that would have been enough,
Yeah, right.
To just sit with him. Also, his words of wisdom, like just hearing him talk, I feel like it's a spiritual experience. He just has it all figured out. He's got his priorities straight. He's like enlightened. I'm not kidding. He is. Like, speaking with him is amazing. So we do talk about the future of Kiss. Yeah. We do talk about next steps. We do talk about, the avatars, and he explains that what they debuted that night is nothing like what it's going to be. It was literally like they wanted to tease it. It was a sneak peek, but it was in its infancy. Yeah. And what is to happen next is going to be so advanced, and pretty exceptional.
Kiss doesn't mess around with that stuff.
Right.
They do anything like this. Like, just even thinking this is the end of the road tour. What are they going to do for the show? What's the stage going to look like? Look, now we're used to it. We've seen it for 3-4 years, but when it first came out, they always blow you away. Even whatever Gene does, we've done events with Gene, always top notch. So I know they'll come around and do it. As fans, and we were there, and there was a lot of disappointment, only in the sense that we wanted more. We wanted that heartful speech. We wanted the old members. We know they're not going to happen now. We all wanted that. But in addition to that, just the avatars, I felt like they were better served if they didn't bring it up, or maybe teased it later on, because it took away from what last show that we know Kiss as this. And with that avatar, it's just, and it's not even the best version of it, as you said. It's not even close to being as good as it could be.
It's like a blueprint. It was literally, they wanted to, I asked Paul about that. They just wanted to, almost as a sneak peek, and like hope that like this will live on. I think it was more of a statement. It was more like Kiss lives on forever. Kiss lives on in all of you. Kiss lives on in the music, and Kiss will live on in this awesome new experience. So that's why I think it was important to them, just to show it's part of this new legacy. But unfortunately, it was so in its infancy that it probably didn't have the impact that they hoped it would. But I think that, and like you just said, because Gene and Paul are going to be so involved in this, in every iteration of Kiss moving forward, them. You know what I mean?
That's they're not going to let. I was saying, yes, I don't.
They're not going to let it be a schlocky. You know what I mean? It's going to be. It's going to be groundbreaking. They've always been trailblazers, and they will continue to be.
Oh, and because as Kiss fans, I mean, we know we come to expect. We have Kiss fans are funny because we love everything they do, but we also love to bitch about everything they do. Okay,
like a family,
exactly. Because we take everything so personal because they've been such a part of our lives for so many for people like us since we were little kids. So we've seen every version of them. So we have such high standards, and when those standards are impossible to meet, sometimes we're like, oh. But as the dust settles, and it's been 6 months since we spent the weekend in New York City, we just did an episode a couple months ago about, kind of like resetting ourselves as Kiss fans now that the dust has settled. Like, what do we expect? Are we excited about these avatars? Like, what's next for the band? So I think, Kiss fans, we get so excited, but sometimes we're a little bit like immature where it's like, we want, and we expect so much. So, and you're right, Paul is kind of like that calming, reassuring voice of reason. It's like, he's the guy that's like, relax.
Yes.
You're going to be okay.
I think when you hear this interview with Paul, you're really going to feel good about everything. And also, this is another thing that Paul and I talk about the interview. And I always try to bring this up, but because Kiss has been a part of your lives since you were children, literally it imprinted on you.
Oh, yeah.
Actually helped make you like who you are. That's the significance that Kiss has on real Kiss fans. That you almost, not you, but sometimes people forget that they're actually like humans.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're people. And what I have the most respect for is that the guys chose to call it now at the top of their game. Think about them. They're in their 70s and they're not just like jamming on a stage. The costumes alone, the platforms, the weight, the actual weight of the costumes, the athletics they do, the zip lining, the fire, like it is so grueling, physically demanding that they wanted to end it while they were at their best. Like a lot of artists continue to play as long as they want. And guess what? That's their prerogative because they're humans and they get to choose, their careers. But I love that this is where they wanted to call it. And the next evolution is going to be the avatar. So I just always as a fan, I always think being a super fan is always recognizing that these artists are humans too.
You're way too thoughtful for being a Kiss fan, right? I wish that us and some of our listeners could be that. We're like, no, we don't want to hear that. But you're right.
I know, but I think that because this is like my heart as a music fan. I have a lot of empathy for the musicians, and it's sometimes the fans, they mean well because they support the band from everything, but remember they are people. So you also have to support the people in the band
said.
And support them.
Yeah. So one of the things, about you that I'm really enjoying hearing is how the, impression that Paul has left on you.
Yeah.
I've seen your interviews. Recently you've had Ringo Starr and, good Lord, you guys seem like best of friends.
That was amazing.
Motley Crue, everything from the Crue, pretty hardcore, and then you have Ringo Starr on, and I've seen you interview biggest and best. So to hear you talk about Paul, that he has this much of an impact, and you have this much profound respect for him, it's really endearing for us to hear that. And the Kiss fans, I'm sure, will find the same thing. And that's great.
Yeah. He's a special person. He is atypical. I will say that he, you really see it in this interview. The interview is like a deep dive. I think it's a good, maybe 45 minutes.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
Like one-on-one, and Paul's the best. He's so approachable. He was like, hit him up and he's like, sure. How's next week? He's the coolest. Wow. He is the coolest. He is just, like I said before, I think that just really resonates with me. Because so many people are talented and they're the best of the best, but they're assholes or they're not great people or, and that's less impressive when you can also be a highly functioning part of society and you give back and, you're an inspiration as a person. So when someone can be both, that's pretty incredible.
So speaking of interviews, your pre-show interview that obviously wasn't on the stage, but the interview that you did with Gene.
Oh yeah.
So we've been lucky enough. We met Gene. We went to Las Vegas back in May of 2023. We met Gene, and it was for a short time, but for a long enough time for us to know that. I mean, you talk about a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve and he just puts it out there. And watching and listening to that interview that you did with him, I always you describing Paul as endearing. Mm-hmm. And I always find Gene to be that way because I wear my heart on my sleeve all the time. And for Gene to just get so emotional and so choked up, and for, he's not like, yeah, I'm the demon, this is it. Like he appreciates being the demon. He appreciates that his fans have made him the demon. Yeah. And I just thought that interview that you did with him it seemed like you got a little bit emotionally caught up with it too. And I can't blame you for that, because I think he's that kind of guy.
Oh, I was crying. I was totally, I was straight up. I mean, first of all, as you all know, Gene is just such a force, like physically. What a force.
Yes.
And he's in his garb, and I'm 5'2", and I'm like looking up to him literally for 5 million different reasons, and physically and figuratively, and just to watch, to understand the magnitude of that moment.
Yeah.
And to see him like reflect in that moment, and then have his family come around, and everyone was teared up. And of course I was teared up, and it was just what it's all about. The music is music is medicine. Music is the universal language. Music is the connector. Music is therapy. Music is everything to all of us. That's why we're here. Absolutely. That's why whoever's listening, because we all feel that music's our religion, Mm-hmm. And it was just beautiful to see Gene in that moment be vulnerable and grateful and proud and happy and all of those things, because he deserves every second of that recognition and that moment. And even the one of him not in his makeup with you just two, with the two of you sitting on that one too. One too.
Especially when you asked, and I knew what was going to happen when you asked him about his mom. Because that right there,
we're all going to break down.
Yeah, that one, just because hearing Gene celebrate his mom, especially now that she's passed, is just, I mean, everybody's just like, oh, it was just incredible to see that.
Oh, it really means a lot to me to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know if you can tell if it came out in the interview, but I was so present and so grateful and so in the moment in that interview.
Yeah.
And just, I was soaking up like everything and just hanging on to every syllable that he was sharing. And you're right. The moment about his mother. Oh my God. Especially because I am a mother, and I love my mother, and the significance of mothers and family. And it's just, you know what it is? It's just, these are larger than life icons, and to see them be vulnerable as, again, humans.
Well, like you said, I was just going to say, like you said, human, seeing them as a human. Yeah. Yeah.
As an interviewer and as a music fan, what I always love to showcase is celebrating the ordinary within the extraordinary, right? Because we all see the shows and the personas and the costumes and the makeup, and that's awesome. That's freaking awesome. But for me, what I like to do is sort of peel all that back and get to the person. I like, for me, the storytelling, the emotions behind it, that's always for me the most magic.
Well, you've been doing such a great job. I got hooked. I watched your videos. I watched your interviews. There's some sort of, like, I can't explain it, but you're very natural, and you make them feel natural. I'd like to say we have a knack for that too with our guest.
You do.
And, but there's something about the way you were with those guys that gave them a little bit of ease. And I can't wait to see this Paul interview. But my next suggestion to you is, so when are you going to have Gene on?
I know. You're absolutely right. Yes. Gene, I need to have Gene on. I would be honored to have Gene on. I became smitten with Gene that week, like in a different way, because he's such a he's so sweet. He's a great guy. He's really, like you say, he's endearing. He really is. He's a delight. He's a delight.
Yeah, we met him again. There was a weekend event in May of 23 out in Vegas. It was a Gene Simmons weekend. It was like an evening with Gene where there was like a dinner event and a concert and everything. You got to meet him.
Amazing.
And we went up, we met him, and we got some pictures taken and autographs, and it was, a couple minutes to hang out. And you would have thought that we had known him. He just comes up, he, kind of puts me in a headlock and takes a picture, and he's just kind of being goofy and and I'm like, this is, like we always say, like, sometimes you get afraid to meet your heroes because you're like, is this person I don't want to damage what I've thought of this person my entire life. But Gene is that guy where he's tenfold what you hoped he would be.
Gene cares so much about the fans.
Absolutely.
He is so grateful for their support. He knows that Kiss fans are unique. He knows that Kiss fans are the most diehard, devoted, loyal fans. He really appreciates that. He does. So does Paul. I mean, they both do. Paul shared a story, they're so grateful. Both the two of them, they understand, like, they're just grateful, people. But Paul used to drive a taxi in New York City.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he shared a story that he was driving his passengers past the Garden, and he said to them, "I'm going to play there one day," and I'm sure the passengers were like, "Sure," like, I roll, but he made it happen. He and Gene together made it happen. They had this unparalleled work ethic. They had the highest stakes. They needed to make it happen. We talk a lot about this in the interview as well.
Nice.
We talk a lot about that. We do a deep dive about it all, like the whole journey. I asked him what he loves most about Gene.
Oh, God.
So you'll have to listen for that.
Oh, we will.
We talk about, what else he's working on and what he's doing outside of the band, and what it's beautiful. He talks so fondly about Gene's family, like it's his family. It's really gorgeous. Remember, they've been together. They've been basically married for 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a marriage.
It's a great segue in terms of family, because I wanted to touch on how we keep using the word endearing, and I know it keeps getting overused, but it's true. When you interviewed the kids, I thought that was such an amazing touch to see Evan, Sophie, and Nick just like, again, that humanity, these kids, like, and I loved listening to Evan being like, no, it's not about, it's about us celebrating our dads.
Yeah.
And to hear Evan call Paul Stanley like my dad, like,
I know,
it's just, I thought that was such a great little moment as a fan and as a dad myself to just see that. I really thought that was a really, really special touch to that night.
That was one of my favorite parts of the night too.
Yeah.
And again, they're both such great fathers because their children are so grounded.
Yes.
I mean, seeing how wonderful the children are is like really speaks volumes, and how also symbolic that Evan got to play and open.
He was great.
His band kicked ass. Oh my God.
He was great.
Amber Wild was great.
Amber Wild. Yeah, they are so good.
Yeah.
And it really didn't surprise me because I knew that they're great people, but like it just confirmed, it just was like such a special moment to see how beautiful their families are.
Yeah.
And I think that just speaks volumes about their characters as well.
Yeah. And one other person that thinks just as highly about Paul and never stops is another friend of ours. And you interviewed them, and that was Desmond Child.
Yes.
You got to interview Desmond.
God.
So Desmond's been on with us a few times, and he's a friend of the show. And
what a legend.
Yes. And he has no qualms about it. Paul's my hero. Paul taught me how to write those choruses. Paul taught me how to write those anthems. Paul, like, he absolutely adores Paul and doesn't stop like worshiping how talented is. It's amazing.
I know. I feel the same way. Just like when you see the interview, you're going to like be a little uncomfortable for me. Cause I'm like, I'm like gushing the whole time. And like, I'm out of control. But oh, by the way, I'm wearing in the interview the Kiss dress that I wore the night of.
I was gonna ask you about that. Had to be one of a kind design, right?
It was made for that night. It was.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Where else are you gonna wear that though?
Right. I was like, I need to. I'm like, is it too much that I wear this dress? I was like, fuck that. I need to wear this dress.
Wear it. Wear it at a wedding or something?
And,
of course.
No, exactly. And Paul appreciated it, and he remembered it, and he was glad that I wore it.
I am so glad you brought that up, because during the interview, when watching the Madison Square Garden interview, I'm like, that thing is incredible. Like where did that come from? Like, that was amazing.
It's funny because when we walked into the stadium, now mind you, again, like, I know who you are because Tom was like, guys, I knew you from Jericho. We walked in. You were up on top because you were that spot where Paul comes and
you're
lands,
on a platform,
and you were interviewing people, and you were up talking. We couldn't hear a word you were saying.
I know, that's what I'm talking about.
We couldn't hear a word you're saying. You look great. Don't get us wrong. You look great, but I'm like, I can't hear a word she's saying, and no one can hear the interview. Now we saw it back when I watched afterwards, and it sounds great, and it does come across. We can hear what you guys are saying, but. That's what we found when we walked into the building.
Yeah.
I know that's what I meant before, that there were the pre-show, there were a lot of mishaps. Yeah. A lot of mishaps. But
that's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good.
I still got to do those awesome interviews and spend time with Desmond Child and the kids, and it just and connecting with the fans, and it just was like a dream sequence. It really was great. So
well, we're all going to be looking forward to this interview. I know I am. I can't wait till it comes out tomorrow. But
thank you.
You also do a bunch of non-Kiss work, obviously. So tell us about something new that's coming up. You want to talk about it? Because I absolutely adored you with Ringo. I thought that was
awesome. That was great.
And I'm just like, wow. She went from Ringo to Shout It Out Loudcast. We'll take it.
Talk about 6 degrees of separation. We can now say there's a connection between Tom and Zeus and Ringo Starr.
And I'm honored that I'm the connection. That's
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. But it was awesome. And, I've seen you with other big stars as well. How did that get to that point? And any part of the story that you want to share? Like, you don't have to give names, but do you find it? Because we have a streak going right now. I can't tell you. We have yet to have anybody on that we're like, God, that guy's a dick. Everybody, we've been so fortunate.
Yes. We've been so blessed that every interview we have is.
And you're increasing the streak, so thank you.
Oh, good.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Have you run across that? Because these big stars that you're just like, I can't believe what an ass this guy or girl is.
No, I have to tell you, I'm with you. I've actually really never had that experience before. And in fact, it's even like wowed me how wonderful. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even anticipate how wonderful someone was.
That's how we feel lots of times. Yeah.
Well, I think it's the kind of person that is willing to do it to begin with. They obviously are a people person and want to talk. I think maybe the a-holes don't want to do it to begin with, so you want to talk to them.
That's a good point.
But I can tell, because it's really hard to fake kind of a good chemistry when you have someone in this a good interview and this stuff. Well, and I haven't seen anything that you've ever done where I'm like, ooh, that's a little, that guy sounds like it, It's always that fun laughter and that great chemistry. And I think you do an awesome job for it. And that's why you've been the success that you are right now. And that's awesome.
I appreciate that so much. I think that, it's really just in any interaction, whether it's an interview, whether it's a first date, whether it's like hanging out with someone, it just comes down to a human to human connection and building rapport. And like, how do you build rapport? You build it through trust and respect, and with all of my interviews, I treat each one like I need to do like a term paper on that person. Like the amount of research that I do before an interview, before like my show, like before I sit down and interview, I literally could do like a term paper about that person. Like I know everything about them. And I think that, when someone has been doing media for 50 years and they've done countless interviews and it's just that superficial, exchange, like nothing gets older than that. And I think when you actually sit with someone and you talk to them as a person and you know their story and you're here to really share it and celebrate it, you immediately get a different sort of connection with them where they're willing, they know it's a safe space.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word.
And I think also too, I think it shows respect and care to the person that you're interviewed. As Zeus said, we've been blessed enough to have some incredible guests this year. I mean, we've had people like Steve Vai, Dave Ellefson from Megadeth, like incredible guests. And like you, we spend a lot of time researching, we know Dave Ellefson, we know Steve Vai, but we still want to spend more time with them because when you're interviewing, when you're asking questions, you want that person to know that their time isn't being wasted, that you're respecting their time and their place
and
on
your
show.
And the listeners. We always want to respect them. We want to give them content that they want to hear. Like, I'm not asking somebody about their dog if I don't care about their dog.
Right.
I want to know because it's interesting, and I think my listeners will be interested in it. It has to be some kind of fun. Otherwise, you're wasting everybody's time.
Right.
I agree. You guys are my people. I feel like you're very like-minded. Yes.
One other thing I want to bring up, if I can.
Yes.
And that is, you are, I call it, I said, Tom, this woman is a fucking machine. Your Instagram is, now mind you, I know you just had you had a child not too long ago. So I've been following you while you were like the last child you were pregnant with.
Yeah.
And your workout videos, you people, everybody that's listening needs to follow her. I was telling Tom, I was bringing groceries up with my 15-year-old, and I'm like, oh, this chocolate milk in the bag is heavy. Meanwhile, Allison has got like this ball and just pushing it up this wall, and you can count like all these abs on her, and her fucking muscles are jacked up. And there's not an ounce of fat on you. And I'm just like, dude, I just need to give up.
Oh.
But everybody out there, you need to find her Instagram and watch it. It'll get you off the couch, I'll tell you, because you are a machine.
Well,
I appreciate that.
And I'll jump on there too. So I'm going to use this term loosely when I make this reference, but I don't want to say I'm a runner. I'm a guy who runs.
Mm-hmm, I get
it. I usually run with Asics, and I saw your Asics ad, and I was like, God damn it. I am not a runner.
I give up.
I thought I was a runner.
Oh my God. You guys are the best. First of all, fitness and strength and just being like, it's another vertical of mine. Like I would say it's music, it's fitness, it's family.
Yeah.
And music has always fueled my workouts. So they really go hand in hand. And look, I'm a jock. I'm a girl who was always a tomboy. I played sports growing up. I love it.
What sports did you play?
I played field hockey and lacrosse.
My daughter's going to worship you now. Yeah, she loves her field hockey.
Field hockey's the best. Yeah.
She loves it. And I actually enjoy it now, too. And lacrosse she plays, too.
Oh, it's so sick. I love it. I love girls who play sports. I just do.
Yep.
It's like, we're badass.
Yep.
I always played sports. And then as an adult, I just, I didn't play sports anymore, but I always loved to challenge myself. So I ran the New York City Marathon twice. I picked up snowboarding. I picked up pole dancing. I had a pole in my New York City apartment.
Wait, what?
I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to comment.
Guys,
I'm commenting. She said you started pole dancing.
I literally did pole for fitness. Like, because it was not in clubs. It was like,
no, I know. I get that.
But respect to those who do. I didn't do that. I was using pole as fitness because really it's gymnastics. It's just gymnastics. It requires so much strength.
Meanwhile, me and Zeus are using poles to hold our balance so we don't fall over.
But go ahead.
And then when I moved to LA, because I like to challenge myself, I picked up CrossFit. And that's how I met my husband, Brian, because he used to own a CrossFit gym. Yeah. And then I got really into CrossFit. I got really into strength. I hosted the CrossFit Games. Mm-hmm. I did CrossFit I did modeling for fitness and Reebok and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, with the pandemic, we turned our garage into a gym, and that's.
Oh, I know your garage now. I know it inside out. I'm like, holy Christ! It's like Arnold at the beach.
Oh my God!
Like that's your Arnold beach there. You know, you're in the. I know, like the bars above. You got the ball on top of your back or underneath, and just.
You guys are the best.
It's just
love you
very.
guys.
It's so fascinating to watch because I'm like, hell is this woman doing this? It's insane. God bless you.
That warms my heart. You know, it really does. It warms my heart. And all of my guests always inspire me, and I inspire the listeners, and I hope that I get to inspire people too, you know, whether that's from my fitness.
Oh, you do.
Conversations we have. That's awesome. That's great.
So Allison, so you're kicking ass with the YouTube show. Is that like is that kind of like your happy place right now? Like doing that show? Do you have anything big coming up that you can share? Kind of like the KISS event? Any other big hosting things coming up that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, just to give you guys some context, like my mother, you know, when I was a little girl, I remember my mother telling me about American Bandstand. You know, my mother grew up in American Bandstand. I remember seeing reruns and like seeing Dick Clark, and I was like, that's what I want to do. Like I wanted to be Dick Clark when I was a little girl. Where other girls wanted to be like princesses and stuff, I was like, I want to be Dick Clark. And then it like, you know, being the MTV generation, then it was like, okay, I want to be an MTV VJ. And then I was like, I want to be Matt Pinfield, you know?
Yes.
Who actually is my best friend.
Love Matt.
Oh, yeah. He's the best.
Been following him since he started, pretty much. Love him.
Oh, yeah. Matt is my dearest friend. I actually, when I first got out of college, I created a position to be Matt's assistant. I literally like pursued Matt. Like it's a whole thing where I like became Matt's right hand. So I just love sort of, you know, being that person, that ultimate music fan, right? Yeah, so it's like, I kind of look at myself as the ultimate music fan who hosts big music events, you know, gets people excited about new music, does, you know, interviews. And I just love that stuff. So the Allison Hagendorf Show is really something that I've wanted to do my entire life. And so that will continue. And that's like an in-depth interview show. Yeah. And then, of course, I love just doing hosting. So next week, I will be going to Tennessee. I'll be hosting Bonnaroo, the Bonnaroo Music Festival on Hulu.
Cool.
So I'll be hosting that broadcast. I do a lot of festival broadcasting.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
I hosted the first ever Jazz Fest broadcast. I hosted the first ever Stagecoach broadcast. So music festivals are also my happy place because it's with the fans, it's with the artists, it's with the culture. I love that. So I guess hosting Bonnaroo next week is my next big hosting gig.
Awesome. Allison, tell everybody who's listening right now where they can find you if they're interested in your social media, your YouTube. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Thank you. Well, definitely YouTube, my channel. So it's youtube.com/Allison Hagendorf. And then on all socials, it's at Allie Hagendorf because Allison Hagendorf was too long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For Instagram. Okay. I mean, here's the thing with having a name like Allison Hagendorf, okay? The good thing is I'm the only one on the whole planet. So it's really great for search purposes. It's just, you know, the bad thing is you got Hagendorf, your whole last name, but I love it. And I quadruple down on it from the beginning. And that's that. So at Allie Hagendorf on socials and then my youtube.com/Allison Hagendorf.
Awesome. She's Allison Hagendorf. This has been a blast. So thrilled to have you. Thank you so much. It's been so fun. We can't wait to see what's next. We will definitely be checking it out. Thank you, Allison.
Guys, thank you so much, honestly, for having me on. And thank you for what you do. And I have to tell you, you guys are awesome at what you do. You are talented.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know what? You created a safe space for me.
So thank you. We love that. Thank you.
We're not a safe space for many people, so we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take that. Allison, thank you.
Tom, what you think of that with Allison?
Great stuff. I mean, like she said, you're my people. We just had a great chemistry with her. It was nice to talk to her about not only her career, but obviously that night, that weekend in New York City. Just great. You could tell she's just as passionate as we are about what she does. She loves talking to people. She loves talking about music. It was a thrill to really spend some time with her. She was very, very cool.
You know what? One of the things I really enjoyed was that her humbleness. That she was like, look, I like KISS. I'm not like on that level. Like she knows there's a level of the KISS army. And as I said, don't worry, we're not at that level of some of these people either.
Yep.
But it was a fun talk to somebody behind the scenes of what goes on and all the celebrities that she talks to and how she does her job and how it works and how fucking like, I don't know, enthralled she is with Paul and thinks how awesome he is.
Yeah. She was great. And then we had a nice conversation with her even after we recorded, just a couple side conversations. She was great. And it was nice to kind of establish a nice rapport and a friendship with her because she's terrific.
Yeah, you guys will see her back again. And you know what I love is like, she's like, I'm like you guys. She's a fucking 90s. She's the biggest Nirvana fan. That's her. That's her band.
Loves the grunge. Loves the grunge.
And
stuff.
you know, and she has that sense of humor when I'm like, I see your Instagram videos.
Oh, she was dying.
She knows that I'm like, good Lord, woman, you are fucking smoking. And you look like you don't look like you can't fight. You look like you can whip some ass.
You look like you can whip some ass.
She is fucking fitness jacked.
Oh yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And you guys really should follow her Instagram. She's amazing.
Yep.
And has great content and, big, beautiful, warm smile. You root for people like that because they seem to really enjoy what they're doing and like one of the good guys. And we hope that she finds continued success because she's definitely there.
And make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel, the Allison Hagendorf Show. She has everybody from Paul Stanley to Ringo Starr to Motley Crue to Bon Jovi to Richie Sambora. Like
that Richie interview was awesome. I forgot to ask her about that.
Yep, she has great stuff. So definitely check that out. And of course, obviously follow her on social media. She's great, and we had a great time. We hope you guys had a great time listening.
What is the first thing she does? I mean, we just interviewed her yesterday.
Yep.
The episode drops today, and the first thing she does is tag us in all her stuff that she puts out.
That's right, for the Paul interview. It's great.
It's just another new great friend of the show, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. And Tom, what we do next is we go to question of the week. You got one?
Yeah, we got a question. This came from a really nice email, and he ended it with a question of the week. And this comes from a Spaceman Patreon. This comes from Pim Van Dwin from the Netherlands. Now, Pim, I know I have said your name wrong before, and you've corrected me, so I apologize. I'm sorry. But this is a very simple question, and I like it, and it's kind of timely. And he says, Tom and Zeus, were your parents sympathetic to you being a Kiss fan? I will answer that first.
Go ahead, please.
Very, very, very much so. Very much so, especially growing up at the peak of the Kiss merchandising and everything. I got pretty much whatever I wanted at that time. My parents bought me double platinum on vinyl. They bought me Dynasty on vinyl. I got the toys, the Halloween costumes. And anytime they saw anything Kiss, they would always let me know about it. Especially my dad. He was always enthralled with the fact that I loved the band. Unfortunately, my dad passed away 20 years ago, so he never even got to see what Zeus and I have built. But I know he probably would have been our absolute number one fan. I would have been pissing, laughing like everyone else.
We already have the number one fan. Her name is Charlotte.
Yeah, that's true. My mom too. Huge fan of Kiss. Loves the show. She's always asking me about the podcast. She's going to see Kiss tribute bands down in Florida with her friggin' 80-year-old friends. So
she's overhearing people talking about
us. Yeah. So to answer your question, Pim, my parents, absolutely, yes. On board with the Kiss nerdery. Yes.
So, Tom, for me, my parents both busy working.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have any money. I don't know, but they bought us the stuff. Somehow I got Kiss albums. Somehow I got Kiss costumes for Halloween.
Yeah, me too.
I assume I asked for them, and I assume they said, okay.
Yeah.
You know, coming from a immigrant's background and stuff, my parents, they must have I can't imagine what they're thinking. Like, what the fuck is up with this country? Who the fuck are these clowns?
Who's this clown band?
Yeah. And, now that, we just had the funeral, my mom's sisters, my aunts are in town, and my crazy cousin Mike, his mom was in there. And I was mentioning to her about Mike was the one that always got us into like fucking stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like Kiss, Ozzy, and all that stuff, that he was the instigator. I'm like, did you, like, when I was talking to her, she's like, oh yeah, he had the poster in his room, that fucking thing used to scare the shit out of me. But she allowed it. My mom was the same. I don't know. They didn't have a problem. I just can't think, if nobody ever, like, if there was no Marilyn Manson, none of all this shit in today's day and age, can you imagine if Kiss just came out for some of these helicopter parents?
Oh, Jesus.
Would they allow that?
Yeah.
Now, maybe there's a lot of absentee parenting going on these days, but for the other side of it, with all the helicopter parenting that goes on, if there was no Ozzy and stuff, like Kiss came out now as the first to wear makeup and be like this, what would that be like?
Yeah, good point.
Right?
Yeah. So, my kid's not listening to Love Gun.
Love Gun?
He's talking about his penis.
Oh man, they've had fucking charges filed against everybody, you know.
Yeah, just like the mother in the friggin' Detroit Rock City movie.
Oh, that fucking
mothers Matt Mock. Remember that? Mothers Against the Music of Kiss. How dare you besmirch that movie?
Why don't we ask the director who loves
let's tag
us?
the director again. He loved us. Holy shit, did he blast us? That was fantastic. That was a great highlight in Shout It Out Loudcast history. Getting yelled at by the director of Detroit Rock City.
Why the fuck would you two idiots tag me in this when you shit all over my movie?
But the funny thing is, we didn't. Me and Murph liked it. You hated it. So it was like 2 out of 3. But anyways, fuck him.
Thank you for the question, Tom. Where can people find us?
You can always find us on our website, shoutitoutloudcast.com. That's where you can find all of our episodes, the Shout It Out Loudcast episodes, Dorm Damage, Album Review Crew, Zeppelin Chronicles. Can find links to all of our social media, links to our merch page, our Amazon shopping, Patreon, everything is there. All of our rankings. You can comment directly on the website. We receive those in the form of an email. So if you want your question read each week or be part of our end of the year mailbag, you can use the website, or what's easier is probably just sending us an email to shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. We read every single email you send us. Sometimes we can't get to all of them during the show, but trust me, we read all of them. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, very, very active on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and our amazing Facebook group, Shout It Out Loudcasters. And we always like to say that we are a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network of shows.
Yeah, people can DM us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. There's also Threads, TikTok, motherfuckers. And in addition to that, check out our Spotify playlist where Tom has organized it so that you can listen to the songs on an episode if we do a rankings or an album review. That's a lot of fun, but you would have to find us as the profile, not the podcast. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Oh, yeah. And give us one of those 5-star child review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere out there that you can give us a 5-star review. We just read one last week, I believe, from Danuli, which was fucking awesome. And please do so. We'll give you a shout out on the show. I always like to repeat the website, shoutitoutloudcast.com, shoutitoutloudcast.com. Tom, we always end on famous last words. You got any?
Oh, always. I'll be a gambler, baby. Lay down the bet. We get together, mama. You'll sweat. Ooh, hot damn.
You tell me that you're leaving. And I'm trying to understand. I had myself believing I should take it like a man. Oof. Allison Hagendorf, Tom, Kiss Army, Loudcasters, thank you.
Huge thanks to Allison Hagendorf for joining us. What a great time. Awesome interview. Guys, you're the best. Loudcasters, Patreons, everybody, we love you. And Zeus, as always, my friend, thank you.
Peace out, Girl Scout. Hit the music. What I'd like now is for all you fat, out of shape, worldwide kiss cards to keep the noise down while I show your ladies what a real sexy man looks like.
Listen, all you people out there sitting on rented furniture, settle down.
Cut the music. Anybody seen Richie? Anybody know why Richie did Bobby Lupo?